Happy Tuesday, guys, or Wednesday, depending on what day you're watching this video. So today we're going to get pretty close to finishing up the log unit, and then we only have really one more unit left, and then we're going to take the last Hawks test. So kind of down the home stretch right now. Make sure you're doing the homework, make sure you're getting caught up on everything, and staying on top of this stuff. So today we're going to talk about solving log equations. So last time we solved other equations, but this time we're going to talk about solving log equations. So when you do this, there's a couple forms that we've talked about before, but it is nice to go over them again. So the properties of logs, you can rewrite them. We should know how to rewrite this by now. The exponent goes out front, so that's what the a represents. On this one, if your base is the same, so a and a, base of both of them, then it's just going to be just x. So the base cancels the log base, which leaves just x. And vice versa, if you have a natural base e, then ln is the inverse of that. So they're going to cancel each other. So I have the natural log, I can raise it to the power of e. So on these first couple ones, we're going to simplify it. What you do is you simplify the equation and then solve it from there. So for this first one, the base, if they don't write it, is always a 10. Just as a reminder, if they don't write it, your base is 10 for that log. So to do this, I'm going to write 10, the log base 10 of x. So I'm going to make 10 my base and raise it to the power of log base 10 of x equals, on this side, I'm going to take the number they gave me and raise it to that power. So when you do this, the 10 and the natural base log 10 cancel, and then I get 10 to the 1.75, which you can type into your calculator. You should get 56.234. We're just going to round it to 3 decimal places. Alright, on the next one, sometimes you have to get the log by itself. Remember, this is in parentheses. The minus 5 is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5 over. The natural log of x equals 15. Now to get rid of natural log, you make e your base and raise it to that power, which means I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now these cancel. I get x equals e to the 15th, which you can type into your calculator as well. This one ends up being a really big number. And again, you're just going to type it into your calculator and solve it. So that's kind of the more basic examples. Again, you're just taking the base, raising it to that power, and then solving it from there. So same thing, you always want to get the natural log by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5. I'm going to get 2 natural log of x equals negative 1. And then from there, it's not by itself yet, so I'm going to divide it by 2. Now it's by itself. To get rid of natural log, your base becomes e. So I have e to the negative 1/2, which you would type into your calculator. This stuff is going to cancel, so I'm going to get x equals e to the negative 1/2. Again, type it into your calculator. You should get 0.607. So you're just going to round it to 3 decimal places. Next one, same thing. Try and get it by itself and solve it. So on this one, first thing I want to do is subtract the 2. And then I'm going to divide by 2 because there's a 2 out front. Now that I have the log by itself, the next thing you want to do would raise it to that power. So I'm going to have 5 log base 5 of 3x equals 5 to the second. These are going to cancel, so you're going to get 3x to the 25th, or equals 25, sorry, divided by 3. X equals 25 over 3. And that would be your answer for that one. As we move on, you're going to keep doing these. So after these 2, I'm going to give you guys 4 problems. That's going to be what you're going to submit to Google Classroom. And then from there, there's going to be a Hawks assignment. If you continue on in the video, I am going to give you some Hawks examples that you can use to help you solve the problems. So this one, do not forget, properties of exponents. If I add, that means I'm multiplying because they have the same base. So I'm going to say log base 2 of x times x minus 7 equals 3. Now to get rid of this, first thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and multiply. So I'm going to get x squared minus 7x equals 3. To get rid of your log, I'm going to raise it to that power. Do the same thing on the other side. These cancel, so I get x squared minus 7x equals, this should be 8. So then I would subtract my 8 over. You get x squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. You can factor this to solve it. I get x minus 8, x plus 1 equals 0. So my two answers are x equals 8 and negative 1. And yes, you can have more than one answer. Next one. All right, notice the whole thing's in parentheses, so I'm not going to add or subtract or divide, anything like that. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and raise it to the power. So 7 log base 7, 4x minus 1 equals 3. Excuse me, 7 to the third, because you got to do it on both sides. This cancels. Get 4x minus 1 equals 7 to the third. Will be 343. I'm going to add 1. You get 4x equals 344. Divide by 4. You get x equals 86. All right. So that's pretty much all you're doing on these. I want you guys to do these rally coach problems. Do not forget, if you add, subtract, whatever it is, you can divide or multiply. So don't forget your property rules. So in this one, we're going to divide both those. So it's going to be 2 divided by x plus 3. So just as a reminder, when I set this up, it's going to be 2 divided by x plus 3 equals 2. And then you can solve it from there. All right? Again, you want to get the log by itself. So if there's something out front, you might have to divide. So those two problems, you can pause it here, solve those two, pause it here, and solve those two. That'll be the 4 problems that I want you guys to do. Submit to Google Classroom. All right. The next part is going to help you with the Hawks. Your Hawks assignment is going to be 5.3 Hawks. So just working through some examples. We've done most of these before, guys, but it is nice to see them again. On this one, if it says solve it without a calculator, here's what you do. You take the base, 1/6. I got to figure out what is going to give me 36. We've done this before on the homework. This is one of the written homework ones. Look at the bottom. 6 to the what is going to give you 36? Well, 6 squared gives me 36. But because it's a fraction, it's going to be 1/6 to the negative second equals 36. So negative 2 is my answer, and that's why it's over here. So that's how you would solve those. This is what we just did. I want to get rid of the log, so I got to say 6 log base 6 of 2x minus 8 equals 6 squared. Your log and bases cancel. So I get 2x minus 8 equals 36. I would add 8. Get 2x equals 44. Divide by 2. X equals 22. Again, that's the correct answer over here. Next one. What you do here, to get rid of natural log, you're going to raise it to the e power. So e raised to the natural log of 2x plus 12 is equal to e to the fourth. Whatever you do on the left-hand side, you got to do on the right-hand side. So this cancels. I get 2x plus 12 equals e to the fourth. You would type that into your calculator. I don't know what that is. And then you would subtract 12 and divide by 2 and solve it, and you would get this answer. I don't have a calculator with me, so I'm not going to do it. But I would subtract 12 and then divide by 2. So my answer would be e to the fourth minus 12 divided by 2, which ends up being 21.3. Again, these examples are just to help you. You can pause it at any point to look at them. This is something we just did already too. This is today's lesson. To get rid of the log base, I'm going to say 2 is my base, raised to the log base 2 of 5x equals 2 to the second power. This cancels. I get 5x equals 4. Divide by 5. X equals 4/5. You'd solve it. This is just like number 1, so I'm not going to do it. This one, we did the transformations of graphs. Do not forget, this means up to. This means reflect over x. And this means left 3. So I'm moving my graph left 3, move it up 2, and reflect it over the x-axis. So really your answer is going to be A or D. They have the answer down here. You could probably graph these on Desmos if I had to say. But just make sure you double check. This one's the only one that went left 3. So it's the only one that makes sense. Transformations again, this one's just up 4. Right, which one looks like they moved it up 4? The answer is D. Okay, remember the parent graph looks like this, so you're basing it off of. Should be able to solve those log functions pretty easily. This one we already did, right? 4. Those cancel. I get 5x equals 16 divided by 5. X equals 16 over 5, which is the answer over there. This one's a little bit harder because they throw c in there, but you can still raise it to the c power. So that cancels. I get 42 equals c to the 3x. Guys, you can just stop right there. That would be your answer. If there's a c or a number in there, a letter in there, you can't solve it, so you just stop right there. This one, all you're really doing, e and natural log cancel each other. So I'd have, if I rewrote it, e to the 5/8. These cancel, so then you just get 5/8. That's how that works. This is probably the hardest one because I already gave you raised to a power. So what you have to do is you need to rewrite the right-hand side of the equal sign into an exponent. So it's be 6 to the 2nd. So what happens is these cancel. So I get log base 2 of x equals 2. Now you should be able to solve it. 2 becomes my new base. 2 squared. Those cancel. I get x equals 4, which is my answer. That's pretty much it, guys. That's every example I could think of. On this one, the last one, right, we've done this. You rewrite it, e to the 3/4. So your answer is 3/4. This one, natural log and e cancels, so it's just x equals 2.6. You don't have to do any math. And you can pause any of these if you need to look at them. This one, you're going to type into your calculator. 64 becomes my base. Those cancel. You get x equals 64 to the 2/3, which ends up being 16. And I think that's pretty much everything I can find. We've done the transformations. We've done all these examples. So if you need to pause any of them, you can to look at them. Most of the stuff you should know how to do by now, though. So your homework is 5.3 Hawks. If you guys have any questions, please email me or send me a message to remind. Just get a hold of me. We can set something up. It's a lot easier for me to remember that way. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.